everyone. Karen Cecilia here, and it is good to be talking to you again. It's 2025, and this is indeed um, my first official video for 2025 before I get into the live next week. I want to thank you all very much for joining me, and hit that like button as you listen. You're going to like it, so you might as well just like it from now. And let us talk a bit. If you have not yet subscribed, please, what are you waiting on? Go and subscribe. All right, I trust you all well. I wish you a happy new year already, so let's not go over that again. What I want to look at right now for you is the two competing New Year's Day messages. One from Andrew Holness and the other from Mark Jefferson Golden. One of those messages is divisive, and the other one is inclusive. So one is about division and the other one is about a vision. So let's look at them. Let's start with Mr. Holness's New Year's Day message first. In his New Year's Day message, Mr. Holness was upbeat. He was calm. He was looking straight into the camera. He was confident. He was humble. He spoke clearly with confidence and candor. He was talking to his people. He was talking to you and me, the Jamaican people. So his, in terms of the video and what he was saying, was a conversation of sorts. He was having a conversation with us, not using excuses for what he never accomplished. He admitted to Jamaican people what did not go well, and he accepted those failures as leaders should. The way he spoke to us in saying that some things went awry, some things never go as planned, but I am your leader and I take full responsibility for it. And then he moves on. So he accepted some of those failures. He was brilliant. Believe me, it was one of the most brilliant New Year's Day message I've seen for a long, long time. And Andrew Holness delivered it in the way that Michael Norman Manley would. He was talking to the people, his people that he has led for over 8 years now. And he's talking to them like a father, like a son, like a brother, like a friend, just saying to you, yeah, you elected me, and I'm responsible for the things that you elected me to get done on your behalf. And some things never really get done, but as your father, as your brother, as your husband, as your friend, I am saying to you that we got a lot accomplished and we are going to get more done. So if he was talking to the country, but if you really listen, he was talking to every one of us individual. He was talking to you and he was talking to me. And the last politician that I know that spoke directly to the people when he was talking was Michael Joshua Manley. Mr. Holness adopted a posture of humility. He exudes humility. Yeah, you hear him how he spoke. He putting his trust into the people. He's telling them that I am your prime minister, and everything that went right, I am to get the credit for it, and everything that never went right, I am not throwing any blame game on anything. I am taking full responsibility for it. It's out of the usual, usual politicians coming to the end of the year and giving a New Year's message. Them always try to blame somebody for something that them never accomplish. Them blame this, them blame that, them blame God, them blame the devil, them blame all kind of things. But Andrew Holness did not do that. He never even blamed the weather. He never even blamed the natural disasters that took place and derailed some of the plans. He spoke about them, but he never blamed them. He took the responsibility, and he's taking full responsibility for all of it. And for that, I give him kudos. I give him an A+ for that. And that even includes the natural disasters that he's taking responsibilities for. I mean, there are some people in the U.S. who thought that there are some people that controls the government, that controls the weather. So at the rate that the opposition was going on and some people in the country was going on and making all kind of noise about the price of onion and the price of scallion, you would believe that they want to say that the government control weather. But the government does not control weather. The government is not responsible for natural disasters. Those are things made up from the elements. He outlined all the important milestones of the government for the last year. He outlined them, and he outlined them he shared his disappointment in some of them. Him not saying it, but you can see it and you can hear it in his voice, in his demeanor. He shared his disappointment with us about those things that never went as planned. And that's how leaders should behave. Leaders should be, speak to us with candor to say, listen, I made a promise you that you're going to sleep with your window, your door open. That we never really truly accomplished that. So, you have to lock your window, you have to lock your door. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go do better. He highlighted the things that went right. The minimum wage increase, for one. And I mean, for me, that was the most important thing that happened last year. The minimum wage increase. People like Miss Jennifer and Shelly, them earning extra money, them have a ceiling from which they can actually plan for their families. And he mentioned that. There's also the reduction of crime. Crimes of all kind, domestic crime, killings. There is a reduction in the crime, and one would wonder that if you can say that during the month of December there was a reduction in crimes, all kinds of crimes, domestic violence, brother killing brother, sister shooting husband and wife, and regular crime, then there must be something good that was happening in December to kill that, to quell that. People who are unhappy, or people who have it hard and difficult, and crime and the violence and all the rest of it. I mean, nobody was killing anybody in December, and that is something for us to cheer, to be glad about, to lift up our voice and say, yeah, and that is a big thing. That's a big thing. Mr. Holness then went on a massive highlight of what he calls capital projects. He explained to us and showed us and gave us an insight into some of the things that he wants to accomplish in 2025 as our government. Things that are set to become reality. He talked about the lessons that he learned from governing. And sometimes in the resistance, we discuss how he has grown. He moved from a little flippy floppy young fellow who never know him head from him toe, and him suddenly grow into a rounded leader figure. And leaders also must also reflect on the lessons that they have learned. Good leaders throughout the world have always done that. Napoleon did that, of course, when he was already exiled to Alba, but he stayed in Alba, and he reflected on the lessons that he learned. Alexander the Great, everybody, great leaders always reflect on the lessons learned from being a leader, and the lessons that are learned are usually lessons that learned from mistakes or missteps, or things that you took for granted, and things that you never bargained for, so to speak. The leader of our country, Mr. Holness, is not casting blame. He's not saying that is to blame for that. You never get that because of that. He was not pushing any kind of excuses either in his presentation. But the most notable thing for me in all that he said, in that 15 minutes or so, is the amount of land that will be available to St. Elizabeth farmers for irrigation schemes. Over 10,000 acres of land in all for irrigation schemes. And for those of you who are wondering what that is land that is going to move water to arable lands, to places where water not reaching it, to places where we can plant and grow things very quickly. There's a Southern Plains Agricultural Development Program, and he's going to irrigate 1,400 acres of land. Then there's a Pedro Plains Irrigation Scheme, in which we will irrigate 6,000 acres of land, and he announced that they will be breaking ground for that very, very soon. Pedro Plains, by the way, will be the largest irrigation scheme ever in Jamaica, and we're looking forward to that. The importance of Pedro Plains is in moving water from Black River to the most arable and fertile farming lands in the plains. Trust me, that is a big thing. And the Essex Valley Irrigation Scheme will see 1,400 acres of land also for irrigation. So what Andrew Holness is now announcing, and what is going to come on stream very quickly, is an entire irrigation plan that he has put into place, a massive project to start getting our farmers to develop and to move forward. So sooner or later, Jamaica is going to be put us in a position. All of this will put us in a position for food security and make food cheaper for our people. The development will also put Jamaica in a position of capability to survive and thrive after a natural disaster like a hurricane. And this means that we will probably soon see onions. We'll soon have onions to stone dog and scallion for $10 a pound. It is quite a massive project that he is proposing. The project will also boost our agriculture sector and put us in a position to start feeding ourselves. Who was the first person to say that? Michael Manley. Eat what we grow. So maybe Mr. Holness is a reincarnation of Michael Manley, but certainly these are programs and policies from the People's National Party that these are PMP policies that Mark Golding do not subscribe to, because it's too many things that is directed to help poor people, and this is somewhat kind of a socialist. These are socialist policies designed to help poor people, and I mean it is great, it is wonderful, and we must start talk about these things, and we must look forward to these things, But Mr. Holness' presentation and his New Year's message to us was optimistic and upbeat, and it was visionary, and it gives us hope, because leaders are supposed to give us hope. Our leaders can't come out and preach in doom and gloom every time they come out to speak. Our leaders can't say we don't do this because of that and blame this and all kind of blame game as to why we're not getting what we want get done. But I'm saying to you, Jamaicans, if you look at all of these things, and for some of you who will question the crime, the crime statistics, you tell me in your own community, look around you, and tell me if you see what this crime statistics is saying. But there's another thing about 2025, and Lisa Anna spoke about it, and Lisa Anna is a leader in her own, but is a class of her own as a leader, because that's what leaders should do. Lisa came out with a video and she highlighted all the wonderful things that 2025 holds for Jamaica, for all ages of Jamaicans, in every walk of life in Jamaicans. She talked about them, she highlighted them, she put them to you, and you all should go look at the video and hear what she has to say. Possibilities, opportunities that people can just move forward in their lives and get these things going in their lives. So many things. There's this gentleman outside in Portland that did an interview with a gleaner, and was also saying that the thing that disappoints them most is that young people don't want no work. Particularly young men, they were talking about don't want no work, So when people tell you that the economy is not doing well and the country is not doing well, I ask you to do one thing, and one thing only. Look around you. Look in your own community. Do you see people being laid off for the communities in rural areas, in Montego Bay, in Ocho Rios? Have you seen people being laid off from their hotel jobs? Are the hotels laying off people, or people still have their jobs? Just look around you, because those things are great indicators for you to be able to say if the economy is doing well, yes or no. Look around you. Look around you and see how many buildings are going up, how much construction work available, and tell me if you know no mason or no steel man when not have no work. You just need to look around that, and you will be able. You don't need no big neck people with 600 degrees to tell you that things are going good and things are going bad. Believe me, and you can believe Lisa Anna. Things are not as bad as they think, as people are saying, and things are going good. And 2025 is going to be better. Now, it gives me great pleasure and joy to talk about what Mr. Holness said in his New Year's message, because it lifts you. And that's what people need. People need leaders to lift them, to lift their spirit. That to say that, yeah, things don't look so good today, but I promise you, by next week, it's going to pick up. And knowing that that is true. You know, that is what leaders should do, knowing that that is true. But if we look now at Mark Golding and see what he is saying, it's quite the opposite. He's divisive, he's dismissive, him just not in it, him totally out of it. The man has, you know, I mean, let's look what he's saying, because let's look. So there is it now, Bakra Masa, delivering his New Year's Day message. And in that message is a picture of a black child in the background. The picture of a black child in the background. Big, brawling picture of a black child, a girl. And him have the Jamaican flag hidden away somewhere, just barely showing in the video. But he want us to see that black child in the background. Can somebody just need to lick him in him ras red face? Just lick him in him red face for using this black child image as a prop for his divisive message. And I am not promoting violence. Not promoting the violence. But somebody just need to lick him. Can you imagine this man using this black image of a black child for the background of his message? And nothing about his message spoke about children. Nothing. He never said anything about children, about what children. Nothing. What's the purpose of using the image of this black child in his background? What is it? That is prop. Why? You see this man take black people for idiot, man. What tuna, man? If he was in his own country in England, he could not use this image. If he was in his own country in England, he could not use this image. If he was in the US, man, him could use it. Hell and powder house if he never use an image like that. This white man, this snarly, nasty looking white man, giving a message with a black child as his prop. Now you tell me. Alone, risers and everybody, tell me. You're not happy with that? How can you have a white man using a black child as a prop for him to deliver a message? What exactly is the message saying? And I'm thinking in my head that, let's say he would have a group of black children from South St. Andrew with him and them hanging out. I mean, that would have been a better image. I mean, I'd still lick him down feet, but I mean, that would have been a better image, because at least this is his constituency. And this is him with some kids from his constituency. But the man either go up on the internet or something and go get this image. Maybe it might very well be an image from the internet. Maybe it's maybe a relative of Sandra. Me don't know. Huh? I'm telling you, Jamaica, this man continues to degrade the black race and use us for props to boost the saleability of himself. To say that, yeah, I'm me, Mark G, and I'm there, and I'm on the G, and have this prop of this black child as his background image, promoting himself. Yeah? I am not promoting violence, but boxing him in them ass face would not be violence. Somebody just box him in them face, and that would not be violence. Mark Golding, it was just one of those characters that cannot be fixed. It can't help him. Him is unfixable. He's broke. He's who he is. You can't change him. His message is negative, divisive, and suggests that he has some kind of sinister agenda. You can't fix him, no matter how much shirt you buy, or how much congal at him put on, no matter how much dancing, how much him try like that. You can't fix him. What did he talk about in that message? What did he talk about? I don't know, but let us look at what he spoke about. Speaking to Jamaicans as a man who wants to be prime minister has never come natural or feels right for him. It's not something that he's comfortable doing. It is always a great effort. I wonder how many takes they had before they actually got that video. You know, I wonder how many takes they had to do to get him looking still snarly. You know, but it has never been a natural feel for him to go in front of a camera and big up Jamaica. He has never been able to find that comfort zone where he could big up Jamaica and still differentiate himself from his opposition, Mr. Holness. It is not a natural, normal thing for him to do. It's hard for him to do. It's hard for him to do because he's not one of us. He doesn't love us, and we don't love him, and he knows it. He also knows what he's doing and why he's doing it, and he knows that we saw through him a long time ago. We see through him right now. We know what he's about. So him always look uncomfortable trying to speak to us, and so it fell flat. It was hard. He never connected. He presented no vision. He looked foolish. He looked rehearsed, uneasy, shabby, and as I said, him look snarly. Yeah, him look snarly. The tie, the shirt is, or him hook up, or him face twist up, or him. He does not identify with us. He does not. He's not one of us. So he went off on his usual rants about things that are unimportant. He chose one thing to give Jamaica a small big up. He chose the Paris Olympics. And the Olympics, where our athletes' performances were the worst we have seen in recent memory. Where our athletes were ill prepared. All of them was moaning and griping about their comfort or lack of it, complaining and blaming, and most disappointing of all, our athletes were in Paris competing as individuals and not as a team. They look individualistic. They look like everybody there looking after their own interests. The entire team spirit was missing from Paris. We are not beating up our athletes about that. Well, I am not. I'm just pointing out some of the difficulties in Paris that rendered the Jamaican team as a D-grade team that made zero impact in an arena where we are lords and queens, an arena that we rule. We are gods in those arenas. But they failed. They failed. He said they did well. He said, oh, we did well. And while he was saying that, they were showing some pictures where the athletes, them look forlorn, them look disappointed, and they look like them lose, and them just look weird. We have never seen our Jamaican team look like that, but that is the one thing that he thought safe enough for him to point out. That is safe. Him know we never did well. Him know that. But him feel like that is a safe ground for him. Because him can't point to nothing else. Him can't talk about the minimum wage, which is largely for poor people. But him can't talk about it because that is not his forte. Him not comfortable talking about that. Him couldn't say it. Him couldn't say, yeah, Andrew Holness now do a good job, but we're glad for the minimum wage, because Mama P and Mama D we have a minimum wage and things are moved differently now and people can see them we are a little better now. So while he was saying that we did well in Paris, the pictures were saying a totally different story. I don't know who do these things for him, but I can't laugh. But that is the only thing he could highlight in his pathetic attempt to big up Jamaica. That's it. Not less. He couldn't find a thing else to big up Jamaica about. He couldn't use the minimum wage increase for black people. That never came to his mind as a cause to celebrate, seeing that it is more beneficial to poor black people than anyone else. He just couldn't do it. He can't get there. It's not his natural habitat to line himself with Jamaica. He couldn't do it. Mr. Siaga would do that effortlessly because he was deeply invested in Jamaica and deeply invested in our people. Michael Manley could do that effortlessly because when he spoke, he was talking about our black people, the people that him love. And when he said, my people. But Mark Golding can't do that. He can't do it. So he couldn't pick up Jamaica. He just used Paris because Paris is a safe bet. Huh? He feigned outrage about how many lives have been lost through all levels of violence. He feigned outrage about that. But he still could not bring himself to say to the Jamaican people, too many have died. But we also have happy news. In the month of December, crime went down by nearly 20%. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. Remember, this is not something to big up the government, Minimum wage is not something to big up the government. Minimum wage is something to big up poor people. Boy, Miss Imo, boy, Miss Beryl, boy, Miss Let, boy, Miss Jennifer, we're glad you get that. Him don't see that minimum wage is not to big up government. Minimum wage, the increase of minimum wage, and for him to big it up would have been to say to poor people, we're glad to get it. But remember, when it was announced, he couldn't align himself to it either. What is it going to take for some Jamaicans to see this man for who he is and what he is? He couldn't do it. But after all, when crime is down, even by a little teeny bit, that is something to celebrate, because that involves and that means that mostly poor black families are alive. Mostly poor black people are together in this December. Last December. He couldn't do it. He couldn't come to that conclusion and say, boy, yeah, we now big up Andrew Holness, but we're glad the crime was done, because it means that some poor people picnic lived. It means that some poor woman whose husband who would have probably licked her down because, or she that licked him down, or somebody that day because him not bringing the money. It means that they were good. Him bringing the money and she bringing the money and everybody cook and them eat and sorrel run, and I mean, him couldn't celebrate that. Listen, Jamaica, you don't need to take stock of this man. What is it going to take for you all to take stock of this man? Him couldn't do it. It's too much for him. He's a foreigner, a British white man who have no inkling of understanding the black experience. And he doesn't want to understand it because we are not his people. Him just want to be prime minister to rule over us, but we are not his people. No inkling of understanding about our experiences. So he goes off on his little pseudo-black journey with a little black child in his background, hiding the Jamaican flag. That's what the picture required him to do. Him big up the picture of the black child and hide the Jamaican flag. He don't want to show up too much of the Jamaican flag. He wanted his British flag beside him, but him can't do it. So him do a little thing, you could barely see the Jamaican flag. With this picture of this beautiful black child. Beautiful black child. That this white man, this English man, this grandson of a slave owner, I wonder if he couldn't find a few kids in South St. Andrew to be his props. We could at least conclude that some of these kids are, he could have a picture of them at Christmas, at a Christmas tree, or him and them hanging out, and we could conclude that, well, he might hang out with them because they had a good Christmas because of his CDF. Maybe not, but if he helped some families, there would be no quarrel if they joined him in our picture from his constituency as a prop. I mean, I would not quarrel about that, or maybe I would. I still will quarrel about it. I think I would. But it wouldn't look so bad because it's his constituency. The man have no regard, absolutely no regard for us as black people. And therefore, he came out in his New Year's message and he brought us a couple of things. He brought us the image of a black child to prop him up. And he could not bring himself to talk about crime being down in December. And people had a good Christmas as a result of that. That's a wonderful thing to celebrate, You want to lead this country, you could celebrate that. You should be the one out there celebrating that. And then tell us how you're going to keep it down. But then we know you're not a plan. Him not a plan for the country. When we talk about that plan this, we'll be talking about that in the coming weeks. Him not a plan or no ideas to put forward. But celebrate that. Celebrate that man. Speak about crime and could not bring himself to say that during the month of December, poor families could celebrate the birth of Christ in peace and had sorrel and rice and peas and chicken and whoever did afford oxtail, and nobody died. Nobody died. He couldn't say that. Couldn't bring himself to do it. It's not a normal, natural thing for him to do. He couldn't do it. Crime went down in the month of December. Every crime. And he couldn't celebrate that. It was too much for him. But he did, unwittingly, said that the economy was doing good, but the economy had a setback because of Hurricane Beryl. I wonder if it's a mistake he made, but he did say that, unwittingly. But he wanted to say something about Beryl, so he said, yeah, Beryl damaged the economy a little bit because we had a good economy going. He could even say that. Whining and him whinging about all kinds of things. And him say some other little things. He said some other little things which I'm not going to go into now. But he said some other things. But the man who is the head of Norman Manley's party could not bring himself to celebrate crime going down nearly 20% in the month of December, so that poor people had a peaceful and wonderful Christmas and nobody died. Jesus, nobody died. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Miss Lil and her kids, and she knows the boy bad, and she knows he might go on all kind of things on the road. But Christmas came and nobody died. It was over Christmas. Everybody was jolly. And that speaks volume about how good our economy is doing. That speaks volume. Because the two things, the idea that Christmas wasn't good, and some people say that them never get nothing for Christmas, nothing never go on for them for Christmas, and then the idea that crime is down, those two things is not meshing. Not meshing at all. Not meshing. Those two things, those two things are a collision course. It not mesh. They diverge. Those two things diverge. It's not possible that things were not good and crime was down. Crime was only down because things were better. That's the only explanation. Don't tell me that you believe that there wasn't somebody to die, or somebody could have get dead, or somebody could have been killed, or somebody could have chopped up somebody. I don't want to sound ghoulish, but it could have happened. But it did not. There must have been a reason for it. And that reason is something go on. Everybody eat. And money run. The government delivered. It's Holness delivered. And things went good for December. Everybody had a good December. Nobody died. Let me hear you say, yay for that. Celebrate that, because Mark Jefferson Golden don't know how to celebrate black people. Out in depth completely. Can't celebrate black people. Nothing that we accomplish is ever a comforting thing for him to celebrate with us. Except the Paris Olympics, where our athletes didn't perform so well. And he thought that he would go out and give them a boost and tell them, yeah, they made us proud. They make him proud. I don't know. I was embarrassed by their behavior. Not that them never perform well. It is their behavior that practically made them never perform so well. And they were ill prepared for the entire experience of Paris. And some of them had been to Paris before, so they know how Paris is. And they weren't prepared for it. So, there we have it. Two competing messages. One with a vision, and the other with division. One that is upbeat and optimistic, and one that is talking about doom and gloom and looking at his political future, hoping that Jamaican people are going to listen to him and go elect him. And there you have it. Those are the two messages. Thank you for listening to my rant. God bless you all. Stay safe, everybody, and keep the children safe.